Guys, I'm so sorry. This was not meant to be a reading vlog at all because I just haven't been able to actually read slash vlog well. However, I did end up just doing like 3 reviews, so I'm just gonna put them all together. It's not aesthetically pleasing, it's not well filmed, it's none of the above, but hopefully you enjoyed the reviews anyway. So yeah, hi, welcome. Please watch them if you want. If not, I'll be back with a better filmed video sometime shortly. But yeah, I basically just read Iced Out, Whisper in a Breath, Sidelined, and I'm going to start a fresh reading vlog where I film where I'm actually reading at the moment. But that was just because I read them kind of over the Christmas period and I was working a bit and then it was Christmas. So yeah, apologies, but please enjoy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are in a bit of a different location. We are currently in my car because my house is absolutely full of people at the moment and it's very noisy, and I really wanted to be able to give you guys this review, so I do apologize. I also look very rough. I just finished work, so overall just not the most aesthetic video, and I do apologize for that. However, I do just want to give you guys my review of Iced Out by C.E Ricci. So this book I've spoken about before. So this was initially meant to come out in July, then it didn't come out in July, and then it was meant to come out August, and then it got pushed back again. So it just like kept getting pushed back and pushed back. And I really wanted to read this book for so long. It's probably one of my most like anticipated reads of this year. And then it finally came out and it was everything I wanted and more, and really surprised me in a lot of ways. So in this story, we are following Quentin and Oakley, and this is a college-based hockey series, which I didn't know it was going to be a series, which is so exciting. And it's going to be 5 books in the series, which like, not even just 2, there's 5 books, which I can see why now, because we did actually get introduced to our characters who could potentially be our next books. One of them's definitely our next book. This is set at a university or college, and we are following Quentin and Oakley, who have both known each other since they were younger because they both were rivals in different hockey teams, and they've always just had this very strong dislike for each other. They taunt each other, just enemies essentially. It isn't enemies to lovers. And then they end up on the same college hockey team for 4 years, and we are getting this story set in the beginning. We get it when they are freshly 18, just finishing their senior year of school, in their last hockey match together, and then we pick up in their last year of college, where they're playing their last year of hockey. And I love a college hockey book. Like, regardless, I always love the college hockey aspect of books. But this book, I really liked the fact that the college hockey was definitely in it, but it wasn't too much of a focus that we didn't get a focus on their relationship, which sometimes I feel like if there's too much hockey based stuff, it can kind of take away from the relationship aspect. But then it's just kind of like a fine balance I feel like it needs to be. However, these two, oh my god, oh my heart with these two, I really can't. Like, we have Quentin, who is bad boy, tattooed, comes from a very rich family are dickheads, who is just kind of rough around the edges and also quite a hothead on the ice, always gets sent to the sin bin for fighting. And then we are following Oakley, who his father and his uncle are both hockey legends, and he's trying to live up to that legacy. And he's kind of like in between, like an asshole and then also not. He's openly gay, and I like the fact that in this book, being gay in the hockey community wasn't kind of the main focus, which again, I don't mind, because that is a very crucial aspect of being gay while playing a sport, is the rough reality of that. However, that certainly wasn't the main kind of focal point of this book, which I really enjoyed, because as much as I really found it intriguing, I liked that the tension point in this book was actually something else. So that's kind of the premise. We're set with them being enemies, and then we have these two who are kind of opposites, but then also have a strong love for hockey and want to do the best for their team, and so they have that in common. And then stuff happens and they end up sleeping together first, kind of like enemies with benefits, and then it turns into much more. And I think my favorite thing about this book was the characterization we got, especially of Quentin. Oakley I absolutely loved as well, but Quentin really surprised me, because when you get that very stereotypical bad boy hothead, you often get that backstory, but sometimes it can still just be a bit more shallow, I guess. Whereas Quentin was just like the communicator. He was the one telling his feelings. He was the one wanting to make things work. He was the one who was so open to everything. And that really surprised me, because a lot of the time characterizations of bad boys aren't like that. And so the fact that it was really was just refreshing and made me so happy. And then the fact that when him and Oakley did something for the first time, even though Quentin has been straight his whole life, he didn't have a single negative thought. Like, he just went with it. He just admitted, oh yeah, I like this, so what, let's explore it. Like, I'm not 100% certain in my identity, but that doesn't matter to me. I know what I like you, and that's all that's important in this situation. And to me, that again, just so refreshing and so heartwarming, because you don't often get that. Like, I understand but don't love the trope of has been straight, pretends to be straight, doesn't want to accept that they're gay. And I get, or bi, or whatever you are, I get it. Like, and I really get it can be such a hard thing to obviously come to terms with. And when you've had this idea of what you've been your whole life, God, my hair looks horrible. When you've had this kind of idea of what you are and what your identity is your whole life, and then it changes because of one person, I get that's obviously such a shock, and there's a lot of trauma behind that, and accepting that, I get that. But I really adored the fact that Quentin was just like, no, I like Oakley, so I'm gonna keep seeing Oakley. It doesn't matter what other people have to say about me. This is what I want. And just like his progression and just his development and breaking down those walls of who he is, and seeing just such a soft, mature, that's one word, mature character that he is, who is kind and loving and thoughtful. And I just absolutely fucking loved him as a character so much. I can't even, well, I clearly can't express, but he was just amazing. And he really shocked me, because normally that characterization of the bad boy isn't always there. And so the fact that his was the standout character in this book, just, I loved that so much. And then we had Oakley, who again, he's gay, and he's known he's gay, and he's had to deal with being in sports and having obviously the fucked up things that come with being gay in sports. And he's a bit more not so willing to just go with what Quentin wants and has been used before by straight guys, and he has a few more rules up. And then something happens, and the tension point is something that not necessarily that Oakley does, but something he thought he knew about but didn't really, and didn't say anything, which I can think is completely fair on Quentin to like not forgive and forget that straight away. But then once they kind of both make mistakes and they both come together again, it was just so beautiful. It was really beautiful. It was not heavy, like it was not super heavy. It still had rough issues of, you know, living up to expectations, dealing with really shitty parents such as Quentin's, like not having that love that he's always wanted and always deserved, and just those kind of tropes, but just done in a really well executed way. Like, I really liked the tension point. I thought it was a bit different than what we normally get in college hockey. I really love the fact that we got to meet the other friends and other people that are definitely going to be next characters in next books, and got to see a bit of their background as well. I really loved these two as individual characters. I thought they were great and had a lot of depth and were really interesting. And then I really loved them together too, and seeing that progression of being enemies and then realizing there's that very strong chemistry, and then with that chemistry taking it and seeing that really strong connection and genuine love and feelings that they have for each other. and then seeing them have to work back towards that, and then just seeing them happy in the end. Oh, so overall I loved it. If you couldn't tell, I gave it 5 stars. Its spoiler has made my top 10 reads of the year, and I'm just so glad we finally have it. And I just adored it so much. Like, it wasn't too angsty. It was really great enemies to lovers, that you get that satisfaction of the enemy aspect and then to the steamy aspect. And the sex scenes in this were great. Like, I could actually read them, and I normally skip over a lot of sex scenes, to be honest, just because I don't know, they can be repetitive and it's not always what I'm there for. But in this case, they were great. Very steamy, but very good, and a bit different in each scenario. And seeing like that trust build, and the fact that again Quentin did not care about that and just went with the flow was so great and added so much to it. And it was also a funny book. Like, there was a lot of humor, and I liked seeing the friendships, and I liked seeing the families, and I just loved everything about it. And so I would absolutely recommend if you're looking for a good college hockey book. And the fact that this will be a series, so we'll be getting another book, although, well, we'll be getting another 5 books, and the next one is on Oakley's best friend, and I can't wait to read it because I loved him in this book as well. But the next book says it doesn't come out till December next year, and I'm like, oh, you're joking, I need another one ASAP. But yes, that is just my mini review of Iced Out by C.E Ricci. Absolutely loved this book, would highly recommend reading it. Just honestly a fabulous time. I read it in one sitting. It was excellent. I will leave my Instagram review down below, just because I probably worded that a bit better than I did this review. However, those are my thoughts. Quentin is my new favorite character. I adore him, I love him, everything about him. And if you guys have read this book, please let me know how you found it, what you liked about it, just what your thoughts were if you've read it. And I will see you guys. I am, oh my god, 90% of the way through A Whisper in a Breath. Oh my god, so much just happened, and a major plot point has just started unraveling, and I think something is gonna happen here, and I think I'm gonna feel very betrayed. Oh my god, no. I wasn't even filming, but I had to give you guys my reaction. Oh my god, I don't know if I can read this. I don't think I can do it. This bitch. I truly did not see this plot twist coming. I kind of saw maybe a bit of the first part, but this twist I was not expecting. And I don't know how to feel because it's genius, but it's fucking painful. I just finished it. Got another cliffhanger. Like, you're kidding. Absolutely kidding. The only good thing about this cliffhanger is the fact that the author note following it says we get book 3 and 4, which I did not realize we're getting 4 books. So that makes me very happy. However, it does mean I think we're going to have to endure another set of heartbreak and cliffhangers in the 3rd book, and potentially the 4th book. Who knows? I loved it. I'm going to give you guys a proper review at a later date. However, I just was not expecting this turn of events. I was not expecting this to have another cliffhanger. But I loved it, and I gave it 5 stars, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hello guys. Once again, coming to you looking rough as fuck. I did end up going swimming this morning, so that's why my hair looks a bit crazy. And I'm filming on my phone again, so apologies for the bad lighting and the background. This is my sister's room. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a bit of a review of A Whisper and a Breath by Adelaide Blaike. So this is the 2nd book in a 4-part series, which I did not realize that it was going to be a 4-part series. I thought it was going to be 3. and I was so excited for that. And then in the author's note at the end, she said in books 3 and 4, and I was like, oh, you're kidding. Like, that makes me so excited because I love this world so much. I love these characters, and I'm so invested in what's going to happen, what's going to play out. And as you guys would have seen in the little clips that I took last night when I was reading this book did end on a cliffhanger, which I don't know why I was surprised about, but I was, and I was like, you're joking. So I want to give like a bit of a review. So last night I think I said I was too excited, but I gave it a 5 stars, of course. And so in the second book, if you guys haven't watched my last reading vlog, I spoke a bit about what the second book's about, how it was going in that reading vlog, so go check that out. However, this book is kind of more of a building of Ren and Matthias's relationship more than anything until about, I would say, the 60-70% mark, and that is where our plot really picks up. So our plot is pretty continuous and heavy in the beginning, and then we kind of get like this middle section of these two trying to figure out what they are to each other, how to make this work when they are so wrapped up in politics, court politics, country politics, and how this could even possibly be something, even though they have so much chemistry and such a strong connection and they want it to work. But it's kind of like, how do you make that work when Matthias, he is a prisoner of Ren's country, and Ren is the crown prince who is in a position where his father, it actually turns out, okay, it's going to contain spoilers because I don't think I can give a full review without giving spoilers. So if you haven't read this, please just skip this part and go read it instantly and then come back and watch my review. So it turns out in these books, this part isn't a spoiler. So in these books, there is a magic system. So we have healers, we have people with a voice who can say a command, a suggestion, and that is then put onto the person who hears that, and they have to obey that. You can't break the voice once you hear it. And then you also have people who with the sight, so who can see visions. So there's elements of magic here in people that are given these special gifts. And so then this is where spoilers are, so skip ahead. So it turns out Ren's dad had the voice because Ren's dad, who's the king of his country, he is just awful, and Matthias just never understood why Ren didn't fight back against his dad, because he would just take all of the whippings and all of the lashings and the abuse his dad would bestow upon him. And it turns out it's because his dad had the voice, so his dad could control, Ren could control anyone with his voice. And so then that is an integral part of the plot, and then Ren and Matthias kind of get a bit of happiness going on, and then Ren realizes he's being selfish because the attacks from Matthias's country come in very strong against Ren's country, but then Ren's country retaliates, and it's just like that court politics and countries being at war and retaliating and obviously making things 10 times worse when you're killing people. And so he tries to get him to leave and set him free, even though they come to a realization they obviously love each other very much. And getting to see that aspect and seeing them kind of work on themselves and their relationship, and just getting to know each other and what each other wants, and that they're not perfect anywhere near it at all. Like, they will fuck up, they make mistakes, like they've got to put on faces for their countries, like there's so many complicated things behind them that it makes it hard for them to have a relationship. And then the ending, had me so shocked, because so Ren is engaged to Atla, who is Marino, who is the commander of the king's army's daughter, and so they have been engaged for quite some time. But Atla is asexual, and then Ren, obviously they're best friends, but they don't feel that towards each other. But then the plot twist, guys, if you've read it, tell me, like, were you surprised? Because I wasn't expecting Atla to be the mastermind behind all of this. Like, was not expecting it whatsoever. And then it was playing out and I was like, oh shit. So she ends up killing the king. She ends up killing her dad. And then she ends up making Ren kill Matthias. Luckily, Starling, who she is a really skilled healer with the touch, she knew because Matthias has been having this vision of Ren killing him, and it was in the first book. It was the opening of the first book. And then in the second book, Matthias didn't think it would come to, because him and Ren were in such a great place. He couldn't understand why Ren would do that to him. And then it turns out Ren does it because he's under the control of Atla, who has the voice. And I thought it was so well done because, one, I didn't expect it, so it was just a genuine surprise. Two, it added so much to the plot and to the story, and it just had so much complexity in the reasoning behind why. So as I said, in this world we have where Matthias is from, which is very much of the view of, I would say, Russia. However, where he is from, women are allowed to work, women have jobs, like women have rights essentially and are treated like human beings, as we should be. But homosexuality and being gay, that is a sin and you will die. That is punishable by death. However, where Ren is from, being open with your sexuality, none of that's a problem, but women have no rights. Women can't work, women are literally seen as like fucking dirt on the ground where he's from. And so those two parallels, where Matthias was trying to fix women's reforms with Ren, and Ren trying to see where Matthias was coming from with liking men and knowing that he likes men but knowing it's illegal where he's from. Such interesting parallels of two very prominent topics in our society that always have been here. Women still, I mean, our rights are a bit better now, but compared to men, our rights are never going to be the same, and in a lot of countries it's a lot worse than like where I'm from. And just that parallel of having both of these very, very fucked up topics that shouldn't even be up for debate be from these opposing countries was just really interesting, and I really enjoyed that aspect. And then the plot twist with Atla, it's hard because it's like her reasoning for having the voice and not telling anyone was so that she could try and influence Marino, so that she could try and make reform for women and give women equal rights. But that power just made her push for that, but in the wrong way, in the way that she was killing people and innocent people and trying to force Ren to do things that were very disgusting and, you know, making people hurt a lot of people. And obviously that's not the way to do it, but then it's also like the complexity of why she's doing it is there, especially if you're a woman. Like me as a woman, I could not imagine to the extent these women in these books do not have rights, like how just suffocating and depressing, and just how degrading it would feel every day to be treated like that by the men around you in every aspect of your life. Like, it would make you go crazy. Like, it would make you want to go, well, fuck you, I will take everything from you, especially if you've been given this power that makes you be able to control people essentially and take away their free will. And so even though what she was doing was fucked up, and I hated what she did to Ren, especially, and Matthias, and it was so sad because she had such a great relationship with both of them, such great friendship, and was such a great character that you were rooting for to get out of control from under her father. But then that control that she had just was in the wrong way, and she ended up taking it too far, even though her vision was one of empowerment. And I just thought that was such a complex kind of, I guess, villain story, because it's not black and white. It is, she is trying to give women rights and just basic fucking equity that they don't have, but the way she went about it was wrong and was fucked up. And so it was just so unexpected but so interesting, and so you can feel empathy for her and understanding especially if you're a woman and have been around men who spew this shit out at you. Like, you know, I've heard it, misogynistic bullshit from people in my family all the time, and it drives me to the brink of just wanting to like literally yell shut the fuck up and punch someone. So I couldn't imagine to the extent in this book it is described, and then having the ability to actually do something about it, how if you didn't have the ability to control that and, you know, kind of not want to take it to the extreme, how you could go down the line like she did. So overall, loved it. And then we got the cliffhanger of Matthias and Ren just not being able to be happy. Like, they were about to do it for the first time because they wanted to do it away from all of the hurt and all of the pain. And then Matthias gets kidnapped by his fucking mom. And I was like, you're joking. You're kidding. I was like, poor Ren. And so now Ren thinks, because he gave him the choice, like, be there and we can start a relationship, we can see where this is going to go, or you can go back to your homeland because you're now no longer a prisoner of our country because the king's dead. Ren is prince king now, and also Matthias has been let go of the prisoner he was of another country, so now he can really go back to his home place because Matthias is a prince himself. He can go back and be prince and rekindle it with his family. But Matthias chooses Ren, no question, and then he gets kidnapped, and now Ren thinks that he's left. I was really angry about that. I was like, I got to see them happy for a tiny bit, but I needed to see them happy for longer. That simply wasn't enough for me. And I just can't wait to see where this goes in the third book, because we're going to be following Ren kind of picking up the pieces of what Adelaide did, trying to reform his country, trying to kind of negotiate with other countries that they're at war with, and then we're going to see Matthias back in his homeland where he's going to have to really fight his acceptance for himself that he came to while he was with Ren, and that he realized he wasn't wrong and that he can love Ren freely and that that's okay and there's nothing wrong with him. But now he's going to be going back to his homeland where that's illegal and he would die for it. And so I just know it's going to be really sad, and I know there's going to be tears. There's going to be so many tears. There's already tears in this book because 2 of my favourite guards died. I was not impressed. I was like, way to steal the joy from my life. But anyway, that was A Whisper in a Breath. It was fantastic. I cannot wait for the the third book to come out next year. I can't wait for the 4th book. Like, I'm just obsessed with these characters, with the development, with just all the little intricate pieces of their lives that make them them and influence the decisions they make, and then just seeing it all come together as well is so special. The plot, like the politics, everything about it is just perfection. I'm obsessed with it, and so I can't wait for the 3rd book. If you guys haven't checked out this series, I could seriously not recommend it enough if you're into really solid fantasy that is MM. It's just perfection. I love it so much. It's actually got a lot of representation because one of our characters, he's transgender, and then one of our characters, well, Atlas, she was asexual, so a lot of representation happening in this book too, not just MM. So yeah, please check it out if you haven't. It's fantastic. I love it. Like, the first book's already in my top 10, and I was debating between putting the second one in my top 10, but I feel like I might just pop that in my fantasy one I'm going to do, just because there's other books I feel like I need to give spaces to as well. However, no, it would have happily made the top 10 list. So that was A Whisper in a Breath. Absolutely adored it. Can't rave about it enough. Let me know if you have read it down below. I'd love to have a chat about it. I really would. I'm obsessed with it. And so I finished that. I did also finish Sidelined by Becca Steele. I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 4 stars. It's probably about a 3.5 of 4 stars. So this is a best friends to lovers, and this is between Anda and Elliot. And we saw both of these characters in the first book, Blindsided. This is Sidelined. I think I might have said the wrong title. And this was just kind of like a sweet friends to lovers. However, there were some things I didn't love about it, like when they'd be having a serious conversation and it got too real for one of them would just walk away, and it happened a few times throughout the book and it started to annoy me a bit. However, it still was really cute. Like, they did have a very cute connection and chemistry, and it was there. I kind of wish we got to see a bit more of their past friendship and a bit more of that building towards the connection further than friends, because it kind of did happen not suddenly, but like it was a build, but I wish there was a bit more building on that. But overall, I did really enjoy it. I can't wait for the next book, whoever's that's going to be, because I really enjoy all the characters though, and like getting to see all the friendships and all the different houses and the college uni kind of setting. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, that was Sidelined. Thank you guys for watching. This is just a little outro because it ended abruptly because I ran out of phone storage, of course, so I couldn't finish what I was trying to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have watched this all the way through, I very much appreciate it. As always, the books will be down below. Let me know if you guys have checked out any of these books. They're pretty recent, so I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you have a great day, great night whenever you watch this. Again, sorry for the lack of it actually being a video, more just like mini clips of what I've read. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.